The 2025-26 season is underway, and it's time for our NHL predictions and our annual Maple Leafs over-under show. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if you make your first $5 bet and it wins. And Dave, a lot of the things we're going to be talking about today can be bet on FanDuel. We're doing our NHL season predictions. We're going over our division winners, our cup champion, who wins the Hart, our team over-unders, player over-unders, how many goals is Matthews going to score, Nylander, how many points for Matthew Nyes and Tavares, what Stolar's save percentage going to be, how many fights are the Maple Leafs going to get into. We will get all of those in on today's show. I'm so excited. It's really one of my favorite episodes we do each and every year, Dave.
Yeah, it's got on to the fact that you love your little bets, your tremendous information.
Yeah. I do like a little bit of a wager here and there. Makes things a little bit, it spices it up, spices it up. And again, you can make all your wagers on FanDuel. Wonderful partner here of the Locked On Network. Let's get this thing started, Dave. Let's start with their divisional champions. Okay, who's going to win each division? So let's start with the Atlantic. Who's going to win the Atlantic, Dave? Choose wisely, my friend.
Choose wisely. You know what? I'm going to go with the Leafs. I'm going to homer it, but you know what? I look at Florida. Florida would have been my choice had they not lost their top center.
Whole team, basically, at this
not
point.
Having Matthew Tkachuk to start. Not having Matthew Tkachuk, I said, okay, at times he was hurt last year. But I just think Florida's lost too much.
Yeah.
Tampa's is going to be obviously the Leafs' biggest threat, right? But, we kind of saw that, they're a little vulnerable. They got star players, right? They got the best goalie in the division still, in my opinion. But, the rest of the lineup kind of pales in comparison to what the Leafs can dole out.
Yeah. They're gettable, man. Like we showed it last year. The Maple Leafs did really well when they played Tampa, and it's been a good 5 years between the Lightning and the Leafs here, duking it out, battling it out for, positioning within the Atlantic, whether it's, in the playoffs or positioning, seeding. It's been a great battle last couple of years between these two. I'm with you, though. I had the Maple Leafs winning the division. I know that they lost Mitch Marner, but it's going to be a different team. I really believe that. And I think there's going to be a lot more low-scoring games. I don't expect for this team to win a lot of those track meets, 6-5, 6-4 games. I think we'll see a lot of 3-2 victories out of the Maple Leafs this year. And I think that it's really going to be, get you set for the playoffs. So I think they're going to start right from the get-go that way. They've got great depth, and it'll be tested early with that Lawton injury. Obviously with Joseph Woll being down for however long, we're not sure, or being away from the team, I should say. But I still believe that the Maple Leafs might have the deepest, best, most well-rounded roster in the Atlantic Division when you look at the injuries to the Panthers. So I'm with you on the Maple Leafs. You can bet them at plus 290 on FanDuel. It's the second highest odds. FanDuel has the Lightning as the best odds to win the division. Florida coming in a distant third from the Maple Leafs. All right, who takes it in the Metro?
Oh, man, this is the division I've had. It's so brutal, but I'm going Washington because I think Washington can continue what they did last year. I like what this. It's a lot of young players that they got going on there, right? And okay, can Ovi do again what he did last year? I mean, he's already he's already a little broken to start the year because he did start injured in camp. But they got some good young players there, and
Protash, McMichael, got a couple young defensemen up and
like
coming.
fewer question marks on that team than, in my opinion, like Carolina will obviously. I know some people think it.
That's who I think. I think the Hurricanes are going to run away with the Metro. I really run away with it. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just. It kind of feels like they've.
You are a hater. You're a hater.
A little bit. I mean, those jerseys alone, maybe they're just gonna try to blind their opponents with those ugly jerseys that they're gonna have this year.
They're just always good. That's the thing with Carolina.
They're just pain.
They're always good, and they added Nikolai Ehlers to the group and didn't lose any much of significance.
True.
And they added some youth. They're Stankoven's a year older, right? Like I think they've got some younger defensemen up and coming. I think Keandre Miller is there now too, which should add to their top four. So, for me, I think Carolina's a runaway winner of the Metro. I don't even think it's relatively close. I think it's Carolina and then the rest. That's just me. And the betting odds would reflect that as well. They're favored at plus 125. Next best is Jersey at plus 300. Your Capitals are actually fourth at plus 600, a 6-1 bet. So if you feel that strongly, Dave,
throw a little scratch on that, I guess.
You feel that strongly, man. Throw it down. Throw it down. All right, let's move along here. Let's go to the West, the Pacific Division. Does McDavid and his Oilers win the Pacific this year?
No, I don't think so, because I think that goaltending doesn't deserve to be a divisional winner.
I mean, back-to-back years, that goaltending's won the Western Conference title, though.
I think it also has something to do with having Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, which should...
Yeah, they still have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, though.
They do. I mean, look, I think Vegas is going to be a tough team to beat this year. I think goaltending is maybe not as big of a question mark as the Oilers. I just like the makeup of the team. I know they don't have Pietrangelo, but they've got good depth on that team still. So I like Vegas, but I think it's going to be a fight between Vegas, LA, and Edmonton. I don't think any team's going to run away with that division.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be one of the most competitive. Actually, there's a lot of really competitive divisions. I think the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Central are all very competitive. It's really just the Metro, I think, where it's a little lopsided. But I also have the Vegas Golden Knights winning the division. I was just giving you a little guff at first, but I was
going to fall for the bait there, didn't you? You thought
I thought maybe he would fall for it, but Vegas. I mean, if they can stay healthy in net, if you just think about what Mitch Marner adds to that offense. Like, they should be a much better team than they were a year ago, and it's always a good squad. Now, they did lose Alex Pietrangelo on the back end, which is big. That is quite significant, but they've had a deep blue line for years, so they should be able to kind of back that up. And again, adding Marner, it's a huge get. It's actually a pick 'em right now on FanDuel between Edmonton and the Vegas Golden Knights, both at plus 155. All right, we'll wrap up the divisional round here. Who wins the Central? I got Colorado winning it. Colorado Avalanche takes their place up atop of the Central once again. It's such a good team, top to bottom. I really believe that Colorado is one of the best teams. They got Mackenzie Blackwood for a full season. And once he got to Colorado, he finally gave them some good goaltending. So for me, I think the Avalanche are primed to get back in the saddle here and win that division. That's who I like. They're second on FanDuel plus 230 behind Dallas, but I like the Avs to take it.
I mean, the Avs, I've seen some where they're just slightly favored over Dallas. Those two teams are going to beat up on each other. I'm not as big of a fan of Dallas's blue line. Like, I think they got talent, but then it kind of just feels like they kind of just like pluck players in.
Well, the blue line, yeah. I think they've got 4 great players and then 2. I think Lindell and Heiskanen, great. Thomas Harley, I think, is a stud. Like, I think this guy's going to make Team Canada. I love Thomas Harley. Liam Bichsel is very underrated. This is a guy who impressed me in the playoffs last year. I think he's going to surprise some people this season. So, he's the guy who I think most people probably looked like, Bichsel, oh, okay, yeah, third pair guy. But I think he's that 4, right? That kind of makes that defensive group, and he's the guy in that third pair that's going to make them deep on the blue line. So he's a bit of a wild card for me, but I like that Bichsel kid a lot.
I do like I do like Colorado. I think with Dallas getting Mikko Rantanen, like that changes the game for it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Landeskog's back for a full season. Hopefully, Nichushkin is back for a full season.
Yeah, I wrote a preview on these.
Brock Nelson is there now for a full season. Like that whole second line, like that's a heavy, heavy second line too. But they built themselves a nice little second line there in Colorado.
I think Colorado's just like I have them just slightly ahead, but I think again, I think that's a 2-headed race in that division. So I'm gonna go Colorado, but just slightly.
Yeah. So you think Winnipeg falls off?
Yeah, like that team is. It's a good team. They're just hurting really bad.
Many injuries. They lost Ehlers. Is Hellebuyck going to be a Hart Trophy winner candidate? Who knows? But I'm with you on that one. 2-horse race for sure there for me as well. All right, so there it is. Our division winners. We'll come back. We'll tell you who we believe our cup champion is going to be, and then who is going to be the league MVP. Then we get to the Maple Leafs team over-unders. That's all next in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. The NHL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app, whether you're doing it with player props, SGPs, live action betting, or even bet on some futures. It makes watching hockey even more exciting when you got a little bit of something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience that much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you as we are each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. This is a bonus edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast. We do our predictions episode each and every year. We go through our NHL league-wide season predictions and then Maple Leafs over-unders, which are coming up in just a moment. But before we get to the team over-unders, Dave, who is your pick to win the Stanley Cup this season?
Pick to win the I've had such a hard time with this one.
You got the stones to do it, Dave? Do you have the stones to do it?
No, I'm not doing it this year. I'm sorry. I cannot take the Leafs. I can't. Just can't do it. They've proven to me too many times that putting your faith behind them just not going to work. So I actually have Colorado this year.
Ooh, the Avalanche.
I think they've been disappointing. They got their butts whooped by Mikko Rantanen. But you kind of said it all in the last segment, kind of stole a bit of thunder there. But Landeskog come back I don't think people understand just how big of an addition that is to have him back.
He was so good in the play. Like, I did not think he was going to have an ounce of the amount of impact that he did when he came back in the postseason. Now he has a full off season to get healthy. Like, Landeskog might be back to being a contributing top 6 player for the Avalanche. That's big. That is big for this team. On top of Nichushkin, if he can stay out of trouble and stay on the ice, like they've got, they obviously got McKinnon as your number one guy, and then they got secondary and tertiary scoring after that. Oh, right, there's a guy named Cale Makar who's also unbelievable and could threaten, 100 points from the blue line each and every year. It's insane.
They've got talent in all the right places. I think the goaltending, we talked about that. That's going to be a big bonus to actually have decent goaltending for, well, I mean, even when like you think about it, you didn't think Darcy Kemper leaving was going to be that big of a deal until he was gone. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, we kind of missed this guy. I think they got the right mix. I think McKinnon, even without Rantanen, like didn't miss a beat. I think that just shows just how good of a player he is and a difference maker.
So FanDuel currently has the Avalanche as the 6th highest odds to win the Cup at 10-1. My Stanley Cup winner, brace for it. Brace for it, Leafs Nation.
Don't do it.
Someone who's never won a Stanley Cup before is going to win a Stanley Cup, which is not a terrible, that's not a very big thing to say, because on a roster of 26 guys, I'm sure one is bound to not win a cup before. But unfortunately, I'm not talking about Auston Matthews or John Tavares or Matthew Nyes, unfortunately. I'm also not talking about Connor McDavid either. Talking about Mitch Marner and the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, I got the Vegas Golden Knights winning the Stanley Cup this season. That is such a big addition. And I think with him out of the spotlight of Toronto, away from the craze, away from that stress, I just think that we're finally going to see Mitch Marner arrive in the playoffs. And if you put Marner, like peak Marner on that Golden Knights team, dude, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Like him with Eichel, Stone, Thomas Hertl, Pavel Dorofeyev, Ivan Barbashev. Like they're top to bottom. That's a force to be reckoned with, and that's with Shea Theodore and Noah Hannafin and Zach Whitecloud. Like they probably will bring in another defenseman at the deadline or something to try and
they're bringing Rasmus Anderson. Just say it.
Yeah, probably Rasmus Anderson will probably come and improve that blue line at some point. And if Adin Hill can lock in and give you the same type of goaltending he did a couple of years ago when they won the Cup, I think Vegas is going to be a problem. And man, is it ever going to be tough for Leaf fans to see Mitch Marner hoist the Stanley Cup, just like it kind of was when Nazem Kadri did it, and told people to kiss his what live on television, who said he couldn't get it done, not a good team player. But I think it's very, very possible. I like the Vegas Golden Knights to win the Stanley Cup this year. I really, really do. All right, quickly, give me your Hart winner, and then we'll move on to the Maple Leafs over-unders for the 25-26 season.
So my Hart winner, I think it's going to be Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah. So if you've got him winning the Stanley Cup, that makes sense, man. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I could just see another big year for him.
Yeah, I could too. I really, really could. I originally had Nathan MacKinnon written down as well, but to be different, Dave, to give a different little perspective, what if Kirill Kaprizov, fresh off that contract, puts up a 50-goal, 120-point season, stays healthy, and gets the Minnesota Wild to like 108 points?
You kind of just said
puts the team on his back. You know what I mean? Like Kaprizov, there's a possibility if he plays an 82-game season, which he has not done. I think he's played one 80-game season in his career. It's possible that this guy could put himself in that MVP conversation. And you can currently get him on FanDuel at 11-1 plus 1,100. The storyline is built for him coming off that contract to lead that team that's, I would say, above average. Like they're not middle of the pack, but they're a borderline playoff team. They have been for years. If he firmly gets them into the playoffs and he is heads and tails above everyone else on his team, there's a chance, man. Like that could be your little dark horse there. Kirill Kaprizov could possibly be an MVP candidate. I think that's a possibility here.
Yeah, for me, it's his injury history, but he could have. I'm not going to use this comparison only because of the situation. But when Taylor Hall
Right.
won the MVP, the main reason why he did it, people were like, he brought he was like by far and away the best player on that that Devils team.
You can make the argument that Hellebuck was similar last year, where it was like that was a good team, and it's just like that guy played so well and put up stupid numbers where it was, he was able to get it in because he got that team so many wins. So you don't have to go as far to Taylor Hall. I think last year is another example of the voters looking at one player and being like, man, he's heads and tails above the rest. That's the reason why they're in this situation. He deserves MVP because he's the most valuable player to his team by the letter of the law. And it's based on what that Minnesota Wild team just paid Kaprizov. I think they told us how valuable he is to their team and to that market. If they have a strong season, which is possible. I actually really like that roster. He could be in the running. He could be in the running for MVP. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're getting into our Maple Leafs over-unders for the 2025-26 season. That's next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
Today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast is brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire somebody yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your posts at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. Because honestly, when you aren't able to get that right candidate fast, it puts a lot of pressure on you, and every day without them could be a setback. That's exactly when Indeed sponsored jobs comes in handy. They make your post seen by the right candidates right now. You can speed up your hiring process with the $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need.